The launch is right now.
Hello, this is VP on the radio time TNL, the radio you're listening to.
What's going on, guys? TBA here.
Yeah. It's DJ Scrub. DJ Scrub.
VP on the radio you're listening to, Time TNL, powered by Do Work Media.
Take care of yourself. Take care of each other.
Always stand proper.
Support is love. Is love. Time TNL. Hello, this is VP on the radio, and you are listening to Time TNL, powered by Do Work Media. I'm your host, VP. You can follow me at _ call me VP on both Twitter and IG, and I'm rocking it solo dolo because I had to wake up early in the morning to get a conversation with someone that I heavily respect in this music game. This guy that I'm about to interview is definitely a hard worker, very dedicated to his craft, and I mean, does it very well. And that's the reason why we are interviewing him today. I keep saying we, but I'm just used to a team. But anyway, I'm here with Troy Moneybags Richardson.
Definitely. What's going on, everybody? Especially thank you too, VP, for having me on, man. This is really an honor, man. Early bird catches the worm, though.
Oh,
so
yeah, absolutely.
Rock and roll.
Oh man, there's no problem. It's an honor for me. And by the way, we don't call him Moneybags, but we do call him Rich. So
definitely. Everybody calls me Rich, so you already know.
There we go. We already know what time
cool.
it is. So let me get straight into the questions.
Right. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So, what were you about to say? Tell me.
No. I said, yeah, definitely not money bags, but I'll definitely take the rich part.
One day.
What exactly? Eventually, it'll be money bags.
Yeah, it'll be money bag. Matter of fact, you probably spent a lot of your money bags on that wedding. I saw y'all turning up, right?
Oh man, definitely, man, definitely dreamed. But it was all worth it, man. Worth every penny.
It was. I saw the pictures, and man, y'all looked like y'all were having fun. Your wife is just beautiful. Like, she's just radiant. Like, it was amazing. I love seeing y'all having fun. Thank
you so much, man. Yeah, it was great, man. It was everything we wanted it to be, man. We wanted to kind of give our energy to it, and the reception basically turned into a real party. So, but it was great, man. We loved it.
Oh, that's awesome. It looked like y'all were having fun, and that's what matters. That it's just about family and having a good time and being around people who really support you.
Exactly. That's what it's all about, man. Definitely what it's all about.
So, and you know a lot about support, especially because of the fact that you are you're the manager for Benjamin Starr.
Correct.
You're also a very close friend. So,
Yes, definitely.
You know all about what it means to support an artist. There are so many things I want to ask you, especially from that manager position. So I guess I'll just first start off saying, what exactly does a manager do for an artist?
Okay, great. Definitely the main thing a manager does is they basically keep that artist, everything from the day-to-day activities, everything going from getting things prepared for projects, albums. You're his end-all be-all, pretty much.
Right.
He or she, excuse me. But the manager kind of controls pretty much the day-to-day for most of the artists. Anything from interviews, anything from scheduling tours, arrangement, doing deals as far as endorsements, contract deals as far as, appearances, all of that, man. It embodies all of it. The crazy thing about a manager, from a manager role, is one that's very, you have to be very dedicated for.
Right.
Definitely, because a lot of the times you're going to be putting the artist before yourself. And that's your job, and that's one of the things that definitely kind of drew me to it. Just off the strength of that, coming up, I've always been a person that I always got a fulfillment for helping others and seeing others prosper. And,
right.
That kind of drew me into the role, which I know we'll definitely get into. But basically for a manager, man, it's no different than what you would kind of see in the corporate world, other than it's a lot more tedious, and availability isn't restricted to a 9 to 5, pretty much.
That's right. You're like on call 24/7.
Pretty much. especially right now, I've been managing Benny for about 6 years now since he got on the scene,
Wow.
which is kind of crazy. But it's very important, and what makes our relationship so great is the fact of our friendship. He was one of my best men in my wedding.
That's awesome.
So we've been friends since about 2005, 2006. So that actually has made the transition a whole lot better and easier, because you're definitely going to have a personal connection, because
Right.
someone is entrusting you with their career. So
Right.
building something personal, having a personal bond, a personal connection is definitely very important and key to it. But the great thing about the management role is no day is the same.
No day's the same.
Everything
Yeah,
is
like
every
that.
day is exactly every day is something different, which is something I love and enjoy about it because of that challenge. So yeah, from everything from marketing to organizing shows, negotiations, just managing day to day. Hey, like you can't do this. You know,
Yeah.
we need to block out these 2 weeks for recording, so forth. You're pretty much hands on with everything with the artist.
Now, how did you know? Like, negotiation is a big deal, because you're always dealing with these different contracts and stuff. Were you already good at
Correct.
negotiating before
Yeah,
managing?
yeah. The crazy thing is, I won't say I got pushed into the management role, but when we were in college, when me and Benny started, we had our own group of friends that, you know, on campus and stuff. We like, when parties were coming around, people would always come to us to help promote, or come to us to help get things, for parties or events, anything going on. We
Right.
would always be the ones kind of like pushing it on, and next thing you know, we started seeing these draws and see how big of a crowd we had, and
Right.
it started with one of our friends having like wanted to do a birthday party, so we did that, and from there we was like, man, look, shoot, we can make some money off this, and this is back. I'm a young OG, so
There you
this
go.
is back like in 2005, 2000 to the 2005 2006 era.
There
So
you go.
around that time, I was just only like a sophomore or junior in college, and I was like, yo, this is this is something we can do.
Is this the
And
big?
from
Is this
that,
the big white
it
tea
kind of
era?
channeled into, hey, we want to do our own party. So I started being a representative for my group of friends, and going to different little venues to talk and just to learn and find out. I kind of always had a niche for it, with me being a business major and so forth. But
Ah.
um, once I kind of drew myself into it. So I would go to the clubs, talk and develop a little bit of relationships just to get get a little insight about what's going on, and from there, I started kind of broking in deals, and from there, it just kind of came natural for me. From there, it's just kind of like common sense. It was kind of like, okay, well,
Right. Right.
um, I know what I can bring to the table, and from there, that's where it all kind of started at for me, and that's kind of eventually where I met Ben, and we kind of went in from there. But from that point on, I was kind of like the point man as far as going to figure out, get the details, bring it back to the group,
Right.
seeing if it's something we can do or not, see what the benefits were, and kind of leveraging it from there. And it kind of, like I said, it just kind of came natural. And from there, I was the one organizing, kind of the behind the scenes guy, which I kind of got a rush for and loved. And from there, it just picked up. So yeah, I kind of threw myself into it, just a little bit of common sense, and you know, I mean, like I said, in the upbringing I kind of came from, just to give you a little bit more insight, the background I kind of came from, with my family, um, that everything about it was kind of natural to me, because my dad and my family, every 4th of July, we would kind of organize and have like this big cookout at my house. So as a kid, I would see how my dad, my
Awesome.
cousins, and everybody would get together and kind of see what the finances were, see what was what. And then I kind of saw them how they reached out to certain people to see, like for a DJ or somebody to spin records and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
guess kind of absorbing that and seeing that from a young age, and then translating and seeing my own opportunity as I got older. And kind of, like I said, it all kind of came a little natural. So
So
the negotiations and talking to people is, you know, that's kind of natural, because that's one of the things I love. I love meeting people. I love to kind of
right.
build a rapport, So um, that kind of stuff made it all easy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense though, especially from watching a family member put those kinds of events together. I think event planning, and
Yeah.
understanding the complexities of that can really I guess, kind of
Yeah.
put you into that kind of calling, because when you plan events, you are always
Hmm.
kind of behind the scenes. Like, you have to be, because that's the
Correct.
only way it's going to happen.
Correct.
Um,
Exactly. Correct. Correct.
I find that to be
Correct. And
very interesting.
yeah, and that's the crazy. That's a lot of my foundation coming from. I kind of just see how relationships work. Just
Oh,
seeing
good
how
point. Good point.
things develop. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
from there, it kind of started out within the event planning role, and after a while, I kind of bridged it with my always having a love for music and always kind of having a keen ear to what's going on, and then being blown away by Benny one day in my in my
Right.
apartment. I was like, okay,
See, that matters
and
too. That
from
matters
there
too.
jump started.
That matters too, because of the fact that that was going to be another question of mine, is that, do you think that a manager can manage if they don't really if they don't have a strong connection to the artist?
I really, me personally, I really don't,
Yeah.
because as of right now, I only manage Benny. I used to kind of help DJ D Dub with some of his event organizations for a
Right.
little while, as far as helping them with the scheduling, and then also I kind of contributed it to our other friend and artist Mile, helping them get organized and stuff as well too. But for the most part, I truly believe that in order for you to be successful as a manager, you have to have a personal connection and a real strong belief into that person. If I don't believe in you, I can't manage you. If
Yeah.
I don't see your talent, I can't manage you, because not only is it unfair to you, but it'll be unfair to me, because you can't give 100%. You can't you
Yeah.
can't you can't dig deep to find out, to make the situation or make things best for not only that artist but for yourself. So I
Yeah.
personally don't believe there's any way you can really manage without having a personal connection, or even just a strong belief in that person or that individual artist. I just don't see it.
Oh, I have to agree with you 100%, because it only makes sense. Like, why would you keep going up to bat and
Exactly.
negotiating and making all these things happen if you didn't believe in
Exactly.
it? Yeah.
Exactly. Like I stated earlier, as a manager, you kind of put that person and that artist before yourself.
Right.
So there's a lot of times where there's a lot of times like Benny might call and he's like, man, listen, I had this vision about something and so forth, and it's kind of like, okay, I kind of get it, and then he'll ask for my opinion, my ideas,
Right.
and then it's kind of like, okay, let's draw up the storyboard after we kind of collaborate. Let's draw up something. Let's get something together so I can kind of see it
Right.
visual. So
Right.
there, I might be in the middle of just relaxing or unwinding, but from there, duty kind of calls, so you kind of
Yeah.
pull out your laptop, do what you got to do, and you don't want to. And I'm the type of person, especially with Benny, like he's an energy person, so
Right.
definitely when that energy hits and so forth, you want to kind of maximize it, as much as possible. So from there, you kind of go into, you kind of just dive in. So it's kind of hard, and
Man.
I just can't see you doing that for someone that you
Yeah.
really don't
Yeah.
like or you really don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because it makes it hard,
It's like having a
and period. Like,
child.
go ahead.
It's like having a
I'm sorry.
child. No, I mean,
Exactly.
it's like having
Pretty
because
much, yeah.
I'm thinking about the things that you're
Pretty,
saying, and you're pretty much like, you know, you you're identifying things about, like, your artist, that you know about your
hmm
artist, and you're like, okay,
Correct.
I may want to relax right now, but I know that he's in the zone, and if I don't cultivate in the
Exactly.
zone, we might not get this idea fulfilled. That those are things like
Right.
parents do. Those are sacrifices parents make.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, man. And like I said, that goes back to knowing who your artist is. Like
Right.
someone like Mao, I know for instance, um, he's a lot more laid back,
Yeah.
and with him it's kind of like it's a process. So he needs to see it, he needs to kind of dwell on it a little bit, and then it can kind of flow from there. But
Right.
like I said, someone like Benny, he's kind of, like I said, he's an energy kind of guy, and then with that, when he has those sparks, like you said, you want to kind of maximize it, you want to captivate it as
Right.
much as possible, especially in that moment, because from there he can take it and run from there and do what he has to do, and it goes from anything from an event, an idea for song. It doesn't matter. That's just the
Yeah.
kind of person he is. He he thrives off that energy, thrives in that moment. So it's kind of big and it's real keen to, like, it goes back to knowing who your artist is, knowing that person, So
Yeah.
I know somebody like DJ D Dub, for instance. He's organized. He's very tedious. So he needs it planned out. So I might not have to hit him back up or reach out to him if he asks or requests something
Right.
for another week or two, because that's just how he moves. So I wouldn't know that. You have to know that kind of things with the people you're working with, and with that, it's personal relationships. Getting to know him, seeing what he likes, seeing how he drives, seeing what he kind of works best in his environment. Being observant. And also having a want to do that, wanting to know that about them. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it kind of all
definitely.
kind of
Yes.
embodies that.
I'm seeing, like, you're painting a very great picture, because it's not just, a lot of people always, they want to jump and they want to say, oh, let me manage you, or people
Mm-hmm.
will ask you, and I'm sure that's going to be another question we talk about, when people
Yeah,
ask
definitely.
you, will you manage me? And it's not that simple to answer that question, especially when
Correct.
like, say you've just met the person, and you're
Exactly.
like, hey, manage me, and because you understand the importance, you're like,
Right.
just hold on, because
Exactly.
like, you understand how much
Exactly.
energy it takes out of you to really, like,
Exactly.
know this other person.
Exactly. And yeah, I've had people reach out to me before, just wanting help, insight,
Yeah.
just to kind of figure it out, and then from there, I mean, I kind of let it play out, because again,
Right.
some of the people who've approached me, I don't have a real rapport with them. I don't know. I
Exactly.
might see, some of their posts and see how they work, but that time frame when you reach out to me for help or for a service, you know, I let you know kind of like what I expect, or how I kind of work,
Right.
the time frame I kind of work in, and
Right.
from there I kind of put it on you, because that tells me a whole lot about you, how serious you are about it or not, because it's you expending a lot of energy. You see what I'm saying? And it
Oh
has
yeah,
to be.
absolutely.
I can't believe in it more than you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't
Right.
want it more than you. You
Wow.
see, so if you're reaching out for help and assistance, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it, open, but it's gonna. It takes when once you do that, once you make that connection with me, or reach out that contact. From there, I kind of let it. I kind of see how the relationship grows from there. Kind of see how serious you are about
Yes.
it. So if VP reaches out to me and say, "Hey, Troy, I really want, I would really like for you to, help manage me with what you're doing with your radio and the podcast or something like that." I'll be like,
Right.
"Okay, that's cool, VP. Let's talk about it." I ask you about your visions. We'll start talking, get a little dialogue going, and from there it's kind of like, okay, well, let's set up another time to talk. And from
Right.
there, I want to take some time to meet you and see there. But after that first initial contact, if I don't hear from you, or you know
Right.
there's no follow up, or there's no urgency, then it's kind of like, okay, that tells me all I need to know. That tells me all I need to know at that point, and you know that's kind of how it's been for a while, especially with some of the artists and people who reached out to me within the past year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
So, and then also too, I I'm a human first too. I
That's
have
right. That's
I
right.
have other obligations, other responsibilities
You
too.
just got
So
married.
if exactly.
Right.
So hey, if I can't, I'm not going to spread myself thin either. And I'm if I can't, if you're going to need someone around the clock or so forth, if I can't meet your needs, then I'm just upfront and letting you know, like, hey, this might not be the time for me right now, or you know,
Yeah,
just being
absolutely.
honest.
You're dropping gems, though, because these are things that it makes a ton of sense to me, because
Hmm.
you have to put yourself in a position where you have that attention to detail. You have to be dedicated. There are going to be some tedious times. You have to be patient, and like you said, you're on call
Correct.
24/7. And I I think about managers who have multiple artists, and I'm like, how
Correct. And
how
yeah, yeah. And the crazy thing is, that's like I'm a studier. So once I got into it, once me and Benny got together, and I saw his talent, his drive, and saw what he really wanted.
Right.
kind of start seeing this vision. I'm like, okay. And, it kind of started off with like phone calls like, hey, Rich, what do you think about this idea? How you think about this? Hey, man, are you busy? Can I come over?
Right.
Come over. And it's kind of like, man, look,
That
you're
makes
my
sense though.
manager,
That
man. I'm
makes
like,
sense.
yo, I'm a man. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
he's the first artist I truly, that's pretty much the only artist I've been regulated to. And it's been for a reason, which to a certain degree too, because, you know, his work is a reflection of not only him but of me as well too. You see what I'm saying?
That
So
absolutely.
how can someone want my service or trust in me if I haven't gotten Benny to a certain level, or if I can't bring certain things to the table for Benny and so forth. So
Right.
you know that has been kind of prone to it as well. But getting into it, I knew from personal experience. I knew how to organize. I knew how to manage certain things from jobs I had in the corporate world to what I used to do with event planning. But I started reading, like studying people like the Cortez Bryants, the Little
Mm.
Wayne manager. Steve Stout is somebody I really looked up to,
Right.
just especially his early work. And that's one of the first things I did. I challenged Benny, hey man, you know, these are certain things we got to do to break through.
Right.
Here's this book, The Canon of America. And this is back in like 2011, 10, 11.
And
Bought the
what's the name
book,
of
I
that
read
again?
it. The Tanning of America by Steve
Oh.
Stout
Oh
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
very, I recommend that book to anybody who's just wanting to be in the music industry, period. He just kind of bridges and tells you how he kind of blurred the lines as far as, how he started off as a road manager to where he developed into a manager and then developed into like the marketing genius he is now. And
Right. Right.
how
That's
he kind of
awesome.
cultivated those relationships and kind of keep growing and so forth.
Yeah.
Um, it's so in depth, and it's very revealing about the industry. So things of that nature, I kind of studied studied and read those books, and kind of just saw how some of the people behind the scenes moved and worked, and tried to just attain as much knowledge from that, and kind of correlated. I can't be those people because it's only one Rich. So
Yeah. That's right. That's
I
right.
kind of took that and added into the situation I have presently with my artists. So
Right.
yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a
Yeah.
lot of work.
I noticed that the work, but the work that comes into it. These are things that what's good about, I think, really good managers is that they already possess these skills. They already possess
Correct.
these skills, and they're already
Hmm.
this way. They already have this attention to detail. They're very observant, and because of your abilities to, like you said, when you were younger, some of your earliest memories of event planning are those barbecues, and you see how
Hmm.
relationships are sustained, how they're cultivated, and
Right.
how you talk to people. And for
Exactly.
someone who likes to talk, like you said, oh yeah, I can definitely talk about myself, because
Right.
because you know how to pitch yourself. You know how to say, okay, this is what I do, this is how I do it. And you can, honestly, I think good managers can talk for days, because that's
Oh
what you
yeah,
you have to do.
definitely,
You got to do that.
definitely. You have to, and like I said, these are just skills I picked. I kind of just picked up and developed
That's
throughout
right.
the years. Like I said, it started from our family barbecue, just seeing my dad, seeing my cousin, seeing my uncle, see how my dad and one of my uncles who lived down the road, he would get everybody together like, hey, look, it's a burden on Troy, you know,
Right,
so we
right,
all need to pitch in together. So, we all live on the same road, so this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do to make it happen.
right.
Seeing how they collected the money, seeing how, hey, you know, I need you to do this. Hey, such and
That's
such. I
right.
need
That's
you to
right.
reach out to the DJ. You see what I'm saying? So
That's
it's
right.
kind of like, as a
Delegating.
manager, exactly. You got to know how to delegate tasks as well too.
Yeah.
I don't know it all. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and I'll be the first to admit I don't. So when there are things that come that I don't know, I don't have a problem picking up the phone, reaching out to somebody like Randy Roper
Right.
or Tasha with sheblogging.com, or I don't have a problem reaching out to those people. Hey, I don't know.
You know,
Could you help me? Could you steer? This is the idea I have. This is the idea Benny has. Let's kind of bring it together. Or just with
very
our
good
team,
point.
which I was blessed. We're kind of blessed with the team we have surrounding us, because it's not only me. Sergio Thomas, he's like the other guy behind the scenes with
Yeah,
me with
absolutely.
our whole HLE brand and so forth. You know, um, he's kind of over operations. It's kind of like, hey, you know, we need to get this stuff to iTunes. Serge, I'm gonna send you this. I'm gonna send you that. We all, we pick off each other's brain. The same thing with Miles. Even though he was an artist for a certain time, he's a visionary. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, all right, Troy, all right, Rich, I don't see. You might need to tweak it, man.
Yeah.
We might need to do something a little different, or just somebody like Harvey Bell,
Yeah.
as well, somebody else a part of our crew. Just ideas like feeding off of one another, and you have to, it's a very humbling position as well too,
Right.
as a manager, because like I said, you're putting someone else before yourself as well too. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, you know what I like about what you're
leave it
saying
to the side.
is that you said you don't have to know it. You pretty much you don't have to know it all. You just have to be
You don't.
really good at finding the person who does know how to do
Exactly.
it, and that's what
Exactly.
I think a lot of people in who kind of fantasize about managing. I think they kind of
Right.
think that they have to be able to do everything, but that's not the case.
You don't. Exactly. One of the greatest things I kind of took in. I read like there's an article or something about Henry Ford, the owner of Ford,
Yeah.
motorships and dealerships, and when he started out getting everything big, they kind of questioned him like, how are you doing this, with his lack of experience and so forth.
Right.
So he told them, hey, listen, all the questions you have, bring to me on a certain time frame, and I'll be able to answer everything you need. So
Right.
when that meeting came about, the person asked him a question, and he said, okay, hold on for a second. Picked up his phone, called in his IT guy in
Oh,
the office.
awesome.
IT guy answered his question. The next question that person had, he said, okay, hold on, let me get my accountant.
Oh,
Called the
awesome.
accountant in. Broke it down. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when he, seeing something like that, I was like, wow,
That's right.
that's genius, and that's the part of being a manager as well too. And that's not only with managing an artist, but in the corporate world and so forth as
Yeah.
well. You have to be approachable, but you also have to know that how to delegate, how to lean on people, how to work together with people. You see what I'm saying? So
Right. Man, that makes so much
you
sense
know,
because you can't just people, and that's why this position is not something that is you get your, I guess, your quote unquote glory from different means. You're not on the stage.
Right.
You get your
Right.
your kicks from being able to say, you know what, I need an event done and I'm not even in that city, but I know exactly who to call. Like being
Exactly.
connected, being the operator. That's something that is
Exactly.
that's a big deal in being a manager.
It's definitely a big deal. Exactly. It's been plenty of times. And then it's also, I don't even have to reach out. Sometimes I can sit there and see, on just, on Instagram, I might see how, like, what KJ Kearney's doing with his campaign now. And I'm like,
Right.
golly, that's great branding.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or I might see something that's going on with Matt Monday. Like I said, I kind of have a relationship with his manager, Randy Roper. And it was, just like picking up the phone and it's like, Randy, hey, Randy, man,
Yeah.
like, Ben wants to do this. I don't see it that way. Kind of how, how would you see it play out?
You've
Or
got your
just
network.
general conversation, man. Like, it's kind. I don't want to compare it to an artist, but
Yeah.
from a personal standpoint, I kind of pull from a lot of different sectors, man.
Absolutely.
A lot of different sectors. There's sometimes I can just, something will come to my idea, my mind, and I'll call Benny in the middle of the day.
Right.
And he's like, Rich, I just finished working out, bro. Like, let's talk about that in a couple of hours, figuring it out with not only,
Yeah.
my contemporaries, but with my artists as well. So it's one of those relationships, it's one of those positions where, like you say, you have to utilize and captivate a lot of the relationships you have, relationships you
Yeah.
build, and then you got to kind of find your own niche. Like, I draw inspiration from reading, seeing others,
That
this
makes
and
sense.
that, studying,
That's
So
that observation we were talking about, though. That's that being
exactly,
able to observe and see what's going on, because you also have to know and be able to recognize when certain trends are coming up and what's going to work in what kind of
exactly,
market, and that has to do
exactly,
with research. Yeah, yeah,
exactly, man. It's funny you say that because I always tell Benny, I'm like, I personally feel like that everything we've done in the past, we've always been ahead of the curve.
Awesome.
Like, like basically, Benny Sek, like after his first project, the experience, it was real raw. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it was kind of like his whole thing during that whole process was like, look, first impressions are lasting, man. This is going to be my first impression. If I don't ever make another album or another record, I have to lay it down here. I have to let it be known that I have to
Right.
show my talents. Like,
Exactly.
you know, this is it for me. Like, and after we did that, it was kind of like the next challenge. This is like 2010, 2011, and at that time, you can remember how the climate of rap was at the time.
Of course.
You see what I'm saying? Things were starting to bubble a little bit for your Wiz Khalifas and the Kendricks and so forth, but
Right.
we dropped the experience that August. That April, we turned around and did the Scorsese session, and that was a telling album.
Yeah.
Every song on that album was storytelling at its finest.
Yeah.
And then a year and a half later, you start seeing storytelling become prevalent with Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City
Absolutely.
release,
Absolutely.
J. Cole's album, so forth. But the fact that
Right.
Benny was, he's not on the same platform as those artists.
But he was
It's kind of
already
like,
doing
hey,
it. Right. I see what you're
he
saying.
was already doing it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, those were things I always tell Benny, like, hey, man, like, even at the time, like 2009, 2010, when we were sharpening it, like, he was honing it, like, what he drew from. His inspiration was that soul, like, hey, stick with it, bro. Like, this is you. You
Right.
can't sell
That's right.
nothing different.
That's
During
right.
that time, you had people like, you had your Little Ruse and, oh, man, what's his name out of Colombia? They were bubbling kind of with their sound.
Yeah.
Like, now, Benny, you have to be true to yourself.
Yeah. That's right.
People,
That's right.
your audience and your fans are not as dumb as people perceive them to be.
See, you're a
You know,
motivator. You're a motivator as well. You have to be that
so it's
that
kind of
life
like,
coach.
those things, man. Like, we kind of
That's right.
we kind of saw, like, we kind of see trends as far as that with sounds, with anything, just how we market it and how we brand it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? All of those things, just the small details. It's kind of like, with Benny being, still not known on the platforms of the big crits and so forth. It's important that I don't know if you notice, every album cover has his picture, has his face on it.
That's right.
See
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. That's
Things like
definitely a
that.
strategy. I see what you guys are saying. Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah, if you have to be observant, you have to be kind of knowledgeable, and then you have to be kind of honest with where you're at and true to form to the artist and yourself.
So it's a mixture of kind of like what you can see and also where you
Mhm.
are. You have to find that
Right,
balance. You can't get caught up in like, oh,
right,
it could be this. You have to have that balance of,
exactly.
okay, but this is where we're
You have
at.
to have that
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
Exactly. You take chances. You got to do it, man. Sometimes you have to take chances. Sometimes, like you said, just to test it out to get the feeling. Like,
Right.
you know, like it's one of those things where it's just, like I said, it comes back to that trust factor, that relationship factor. All those things play into it, man. They all tie in together. Really, they do.
So in order to be a really good manager, you have to really just be very genuine. Honesty.
Exactly.
You have to be honest. You
Right.
have to be genuine. You can't just kind of fake the funk because it will show
Mhm.
in your work. And I think that I
Right.
honestly think that the manager position is very, it can be very difficult because of the fact, or I'll not say difficult, I'll say challenging, because you have to always
Oh
challenge
yeah,
yourself
yeah. Both of those
to be
words are
true.
very great
Yeah,
descriptions of it.
yeah, because you have to challenge yourself to constantly um care. And sometimes like,
Mhm.
and when you're dealing with artists are very, they're an artist, so they're producing, they can be very like finicky sometimes. Like sometimes it'd be like,
Oh
oh
yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Listen, man.
they
I'm
can
telling you,
be, I'm telling you.
I can't explain the number of times like me and Benny, we just disagreed on a vision or not see it quite the same,
Right.
and it's
Exactly. Yeah.
and it's kind of like, well, Benny, I don't think we need to put our energy into this right now, man. Like, and it's kind of like, nah, Troy, I'm telling you, you have to look at it this way, Rich. Yada yada
Right.
yada, and it's kind of like, man, I'm telling you. And a lot of times he's right, a lot of times he's wrong, a lot of times I'm right, a lot of times I'm wrong.
Right.
But like you say, you have to genuinely care.
Yeah.
And like I say, that goes back to that relationship. Like, how can you have those kind of conversations if it's somebody you don't care about?
Yeah.
If it's not someone that you genuinely believe in. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
those are tough, and those are difficult conversations to have, especially with tight decisions and so forth.
That's right.
It's it's a lot, and it is difficult because I might see one thing for Benny that he just as an artist he's just not feeling, and then a lot of times artists get in their own way because they're so
Right.
so occupied with the art form of it and so forth.
That's right. That's
And
right.
then sometimes you have to just snap your fingers or shake them up, like, listen, bro,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, this music isn't about you either. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
You're
Yeah.
making it for people. You see, so those are tough conversations to have. Those are difficult positions to be in, and it always has to come from a place of being genuine and caring. So
Yeah.
you definitely have to care as a manager. You really do. You really do.
It's amazing to me. Just some of the things that you're saying and just painting that picture. And like I said, a lot of people, they get really excited, or they'll get asked. I've been asked a few times, well, VP, will you manage me? And I'm like,
Right.
man, and I think about people like you, and I said, man, that it's a lot of dedication. I take it seriously. I'm taking it seriously. I
yeah.
can't
Right.
just say to you, yeah, I'll be your manager.
Right.
And just like you
Exactly.
said about, I think a lot of good managers though, are people who, like you said, they start to, okay, let's see what kind of relationship comes from this, because if we end up having a relationship that kind of sucks, then I don't want to be. I mean, you've been managing Benjamin Starr for 6 years, and you were
Yeah,
friends with
right,
him
yeah.
before that. So that
Right.
that it takes a lot more of. I would rather someone, you got to have a manager that really knows you. Because there are
It
gonna be
does. It
times
does.
when the artist or whoever it is that you're managing might be in a very low point, and you as the manager got to bring them
Correct.
back. I mean,
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
trust.
Exactly. It's been plenty of times like that. Just
Yeah.
going through times as such, like even with the free lunch project, like
Right.
free
Right.
lunch, like it started off as a totally different concept to what it evolved into, and I know people got kind of tired and weary, and they saw us promoted almost for like a year and a half,
Yeah.
pretty much, but it grew into something that we didn't even see at the beginning. So, like you said, and it came through those times where Benny just didn't want to record. It went through.
Yeah.
We went through like a 3-4 month phase, like where he was just not out of it.
Yeah.
We went through personal stages with me after the soloist. My mom passed. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
That
Life was
a
happening.
big reset for me.
Yeah. Life
And
was happening.
life exactly. Life happens. Life kind of it takes
Yeah.
over, man, and you have to be cognizant of that. You see what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
there was a point like after my mom died, I was ready to throw myself back into the work, just not only my personal lives, but just with stuff with Benny. And Benny was like, "Yo, I'm not ready, man. Like, that was like an aunt to me,
Right.
And
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
really? Like, wow. You see what I'm saying? And that,
Yeah.
you go through those seasons. It was times going through the soloist. It was a very trying time of self-discovery for Benny, that like it was like, man, like
Wow.
so emotional, and you can
Yeah.
see that in the tone of soloist.
Right.
You see
Absolutely.
what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So my job at that time was kind of, how do I push the needle? Do I push him too much to where
Oh my
I could
God.
possibly break him because it's
Yeah.
a sensitive time?
Yeah.
But I also see what this can evolve to for what he truly wants in his music and his vision. Like,
Right.
so it's kind of like,
So you're out there
a part of
being,
me is like, we have to capitalize on it. So
you're like a
you got to
therapist
know how to
too. Oh my
balance
God.
that.
Oh my God. It's just that I really marvel at the magnitude of work that it takes, because it's a very selfless role.
Right.
And I don't think that's why I wanted to have this
Right.
interview, because I don't think people really
Right.
understand, like when you see your favorite artist on stage, that artist is really a spokesperson for the entire team, and the team put their effort into what happened, and that artist has someone that they trust, that they talk to, and it ain't you people in the audience, like they care about you, but at the same time, they've got somebody that they before they came on stage, they were sitting back there with saying, man, I don't know if I'm ready to do this. And that person said, yes, you can, like.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. And then, like I said, it's humbling sometimes because, me and Benny are both Scorpios. Shout out to Scorpio.
Oh, my
Scorpios
God.
too, Scorpio season.
Yeah, it's lit.
But,
as
we're
I keep
both
hearing.
Scorpios,
Yes.
so we have a lot of things in common. So
right.
sometimes we can butt heads just with our approaches.
That's right.
And then I have to fall back and be like, hey, Coast, hey, Derek, you need to give Benny a call, man.
Yeah, somebody else gotta jump in. Yeah.
Exactly. And like I said, it comes back to that delegating as well too.
Yeah.
So and like I said, you can only imagine for artists on the caliber of like Kanye West and so forth.
Oh my God.
To a degree, like they're self-sufficient, so they're managers to a degree. They don't have
right.
The work they put in at that stage is definitely not the same as they do in like the stages that we are at.
Of
still
course,
growing,
of course.
Still expanding our audience and stuff and so forth. But at the same time, too, you got to think about everything that they kind of went through together, and,
That's right.
Some of those people are, still called upon and still needed. So, like I said, every role from a manager is kind of different. It just so happens that I manage my best friend, so I have to be all of that to him, and he's all of that to me too as well.
Yeah,
so.
Man, I'm just loving the conversation because there are so many layers to a really good project.
It's a lot.
You get a project in your hand. There's so much
layers.
going on.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm agreeing. No, I said that there's just so much that when you get a project in your hand, we get free lunch in our hand, and we're like, oh, here we go. I'm about to play free lunch. Every single track, has a story. Like you can listen to that album and know exactly how everybody felt when you're making it.
I can tell you exactly, like from your favorite song. I can tell you how it came to fruition, kind of what it went through to pick it. A couple songs on Free Lunch, Benny was sitting on those beats for like 2 years.
Wow.
Now you can imagine some of the things. I'm like, man, listen, bro, like this beat is it. Like you need to do it. You need to do it. And it's kind of like, nah, I can't move the pen to it yet, Rich. I need to sit on it. And I'm like, it's irking me. I'm like, bro,
right.
Oh my God, what's going on?
Come on, man.
like so. Then you have to trust the process. You have to trust your artist.
That's right.
You have to trust them. You have to believe in them. It comes back to that. Like, so it's kind of like, man, like what's going on? Like, one of the songs off the Scorsese session, Unplugged.
Yeah.
He was supposed to get that. That was supposed to be on the Experience, but at the time I loved it. It was like, the beat, the energy. And if you go back and listen to some of the words, some of the lyrics he says in it, you can kind of tell the time frame, but it wasn't right for that project. You see
right.
It wasn't right for that project. The ending song on The Soloist, we had that beat for like a year and a half. I'm like, bro, this is fire. This is fire. What's going on?
People don't.
You gotta trust him.
I don't think people get that, Rich. I don't think people understand the magnitude of like or the time length, the time frame. Like you can spit out. You can say to me now, like, we were sitting on that beat for 2 years, and I don't think people really comprehend. Like, you went through 24 months of not using. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think
exactly.
people are so ready for things to just happen for them instantly, and you're sitting there like it doesn't happen like that. It's not going to happen the way you want it to happen.
Right. And like I said, it's a lot of patience. It's a lot of it's trying, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of that, man. It's and like I said, that goes back to the relationship you have and knowing your artist. Like I know Benny, so I know what time it is. I know when it's time to start. I know when it's time to get going with a project.
Yeah.
I know exactly what he's going to dive into. I know the process now like the back of my hand. So, sometimes he might be like, Richie, you're not ready for it. I'm like, nah, I know you, bro. I know when it hits you. I know when it's time to run.
I
You
know
see what
that
I'm saying?
twinkle in your eye. I know when it's
I
time.
know it exactly. I know because it usually comes from a song that it usually comes from one song that shapes the whole project.
Yeah.
And that's it with Benny. Like with the experience, the song "Free"
Yeah.
that shaped the whole project of that. Sooner you give, those two songs shape the whole project. You
Oh
see what I'm
man.
saying?
Oh man.
Scorsese sessions. He called me out the blue. He's like, Broadway musical's the greatest song I've ever wrote, bro. It's the best song I ever wrote.
Right. Right.
That shaped the whole Scorsese session, the whole storytelling.
Right.
That's what morphed it into each and every track. Guns N' Roses, it was the same thing. That American Dream,
Yeah.
you know, when he recorded that, it's like, oh, bro, this might be the most inspiring song I've wrote. I'm like, nah, bro, it ain't. We still got work to do.
You're
You see what
still
I'm saying?
that's right. But that's so important. That's so important. I mean, especially in this kind
Yeah.
of day and age where there are people who have real ideas and they're not getting pushed.
Mm-hmm.
We can see like for example,
Mm-hmm.
like with Young Thug. Like a lot of people are
Right.
confused
Right.
what's going on with Young Thug, but the truth of the matter is that Young Thug, he want to do like this whole like Jeffrey thing. Young Thug want to be
Mm-hmm.
who Young Thug really want to be.
Wants to be.
He
Yeah.
has even admitted that what he's had to do in the
Right.
past and the things he's put out in the past are things that he knew would help get him to where he is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't be surprised if that man comes out with a pop song because he want to do that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, you know?
Because he wants to do that.
Right.
He wants to do that. Right.
And
Right.
we as fans, we don't I think sometimes we don't give the artist credit that the artist is also a human being, and that's why managers are important because they know the artist and they know what they truly want to do. I mean,
Exactly.
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 It's amazing to me.
I tell you, I tell you, it's very true because you hear it so much. You hear it and see it so much times. A lot of the times, like with fans, they're kind of fickle and they're impatient and
Right.
especially now, it's it's like like if it doesn't happen right away, then it's not.
That's right.
It doesn't exist.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I can tell you the number of times like, I'll search Benny name or see some comments about Benny and it just ticks me off. I'll be so pissed off.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to comment. I just can't. I
Yeah.
can't do
That
that.
discipline.
Then I'll call Benny like, man, can you believe they're trying to say you copying such and such style? Or
Right.
can you believe this bullshit, bro? And he's
Right.
like, man, listen, bro. They don't know what we know. Like,
That's right. That's
you can't
right.
fault them to a degree. So, and I'm like, yeah, but that's bullshit, bro. Anybody that knows 2010, this was your flow or this
That's
or
right.
that, or whatever.
That's right.
Like, bro, we ain't, so,
But it takes it takes a
yeah.
lot to be able to rise above that. It takes a lot of energy to be able to rise above what especially what fans say, because fans, they are very like you said, they're very fickle and they just it's kind of like reading a book. You're reading a book and you have in your head how the character looks, and then you go see the movie and you're like, man, that's not how I thought they looked at all.
That's not how that's how
Right.
exactly,
And
that's just how it is.
right.
Yeah, it definitely it definitely is. Like like I said, it's I'm telling you, man, they're fickle, and I mean that's a good and a great thing,
Right.
But at the same time, you got to know how to separate that. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I can't expect everybody to know that. I can't expect everybody to know, new or old fans, that Benny's history like I do. I can't
Exactly.
expect them to catch on to some of the slick talk he throws in there. Or
Exactly.
I can't expect that all the time because they're not in the trenches,
Yeah,
they don't know
yeah.
a lot of the things I know. They don't see some of the things I've seen, and some of them are new fans, so you can't blame them.
That's
Some
right,
people
that's
who
right.
just heard Benny like a year ago, and that's one of the things that pisses me off. Somebody just heard him like, he's trying to be like Kendrick Lamar with the flow and this and that. But I'm
Yeah,
like, bro,
yeah. Like, we've been doing
Like,
this, man.
go to his band camp. Let's
Check the dates on that.
Check out some of this stuff, like, but you got to take yourself out of it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I've trust me. In the beginning, I used to hate it. But now it's to the point where, it's expected, and it comes with just understanding the market, understanding what's the industry at this point. You see what I'm saying? So,
That's that maturity in your experience. It's been 6 years, and you've been able to mature in how you do what you do, and how you're going to respond to certain things, because that's the thing about, you may have somebody who's been listening since the first album, but they haven't really been listening. They've just been collecting.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
sometimes can be frustrating, because it's like a
Right.
they're not
Right.
listening in between the lines, or in between the rhymes rather. They're not
Exactly.
listening in between the rhymes,
Exactly.
and you're like, come on, man.
Exactly. And that's just like you said, that just come with the experience. Because at first I'm like how I used to kill me. I'm like, how can you like Wale and not like Benny? And there's no offense to Wale or anybody like that.
No, yeah,
that's
I
just
feel
an
you.
example. I'm
Right.
like, how can you sit here and say or feel that Wale so deep, and you didn't hear? Did you not hear?
Did you
the
not
Scorsese
listen?
session?
Yeah.
Did you not hear?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Did you not hear Guns N' Roses?
That can be very frustrating, though. That's very
It
frustrating,
is. It
because
can.
when you are listening
Yeah.
to especially because I think as a manager on this level, you
Mhm.
you kind of have this experience where you're like, man, I'm watching this person and I see how talented they are, and I see us throw ourselves at these other artists, and you're like, man, this person right here got more talent in their thumb than this person that we celebrating.
Exactly. Yeah, it was very frustrating in the beginning with me, with that whole thing, and
So how did you overcome
like,
that? Like, how did you overcome those kind of thoughts?
I mean, to be honest, it was Benny. Honestly, it's the artist. You
Wow.
see what I'm saying? Like, um, I saw that he understood where he wanted to take it. You know, and that kind of come back to the humbling part of being a manager. Like,
Right.
you know, when we first started, I'm like, yo, you're gonna be the next Jigga, bruh. I can see you doing it, blah blah blah,
Right. Right.
so forth. And then it comes back kind of humbling. Well, Benny's like, hey, I understand that, and hey, we might get to that, but right now, I need him to feel me on this.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
this is what I got from it. And I'm like, God, like what, bruh? I'm like, man, all right, whatever.
That yeah
Then
yeah
a couple
right.
months later, I see what develops of that, and I'm like, I get it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I get it.
Yeah.
I have
Absolutely.
to be selfless. I'm not. He's not trying to be what I want him to be. I'm trying to get him to where he wants to be. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it became a little humbling. So it's like, you know
Excellent.
what?
Excellent.
I got to
Excellent.
take the foot off the gas pedal on this one.
Yeah.
He's right. It's bigger than what I'm seeing right now, because it ain't about me. It's about him.
Right. Right.
So.
Yeah, you got to scale back. You get to, what, that's I can
Mhm.
relate. I can relate to that. And
Mhm.
so I know that I know exactly what you're talking about. You can sometimes just be so excited for another person, and this is a good characteristic,
Mhm.
I think, of a manager. I mean, I don't manage people, but I can see how
Right. Right.
this is a good characteristic, because you're always enthralled with, or just really
Mhm.
fascinated with what other people can do, and you can look at them and say,
Mhm.
do you know you could be doing X, Y, and Z, but then
Right.
you get too excited and you push them too much, because ultimately it's
Mhm.
not about you. It's about what do they
Right.
want to do, and then little by
Right.
little you can bring your idea in. It's just, you have to scale back. I
Exactly.
always say that I have to scale back. I have to scale back.
Right. Right. As the great philosopher Charlemagne the God said,
There you
you're
go.
not as good as they say you are, and you're not as bad as they say you are too. So it's
Yeah.
always about that balance. It's always about that balance, and you have to kind to understand that, and you got to understand that as far as when you push that onto someone else, especially, it's ultimately, this is about that artist. This is about
Yeah.
that artist's music. This is about
Yeah.
what they want to do. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you have to kind of be like, hey, kind of, you got to kind of take that back. And I mean, you know, you get, like I said, it's a humbling thing.
Yeah.
You have to be humble, and you have to be, you have to be selfless a lot. You have to be
Absolutely.
selfless a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm learning that all of the time, or when I'm watching when I'm watching people like you, and I'm watching managers, and I'm observing them, and I'm seeing
Hmm.
how, man, if you aren't having, if you're a manager, you're not having some kind of conversation while your artist is up there, and you're not having some kind of conversation that's kind of like trying to lead to some avenues, or you're not
Right.
relationship building, then what are you doing? It's not about, it's
Exactly.
not about you, you know, like you,
Exactly.
a manager is
It's not about
always
you.
working, always.
Right, right. That's one of the things I strive to do. Or like, especially with any of the events we put on, or any of the events Benny's there, I try to ingratiate myself with the other artists and just the people. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be so much about rubbing elbows with all. Oh, this is Oxymoron's manager. I need to talk to her,
right,
or you know what I'm saying, or
right.
this is such and such manager. I need to get with them. That's important too. Don't get me wrong, but I like to get at the feel of the people. I like to get the feel
Yeah,
of
who
the
all is there?
bartender
Yeah,
back there. Yeah, like and then you kind of talk. That kind of helps. So like Benny might be getting ready to hit the stage. I'm out there having a good time, getting a drink, talking to the bartender, or walking through and hearing a couple fans saying who they want to see and feeling the energy. And I'm
that's
like, hey
right,
Benny,
that's right.
this is for the taking for you, bruh. Like,
This is how
nah,
they
yeah,
feel.
they
This is
ready
how
for
they
you.
vibe into you.
This is
Yeah, absolutely.
exactly. This is the pulse of it. You see what I'm saying? This the pulse right now.
Right.
Or you don't go out there flat or such and such. You know what I'm saying? And you know that's
Man,
that's kind of how it plays
that's
into it,
in
man.
the trenches for real. You said it earlier. You were like, man, these people, they aren't out. They aren't in the trenches. You know, they don't have mud on their boots,
Right,
man. You're out
right. They
there,
don't.
man. Oh man,
Exactly,
I'm
exactly.
thoroughly impressed with that. Just I'm when I've watched the things that you've done, and that whole team,
Right,
y'all have done a great job in terms of working together, and it shows because we see what kind of projects are birthed from that camp, from y'all's camp. It is just
right,
you take your
right.
time with it, and I think that that is what matters. And I just want people who are interested in managing, or artists that are looking for managers, that they should take this into account. Definitely listen to this interview and just understand that you got to
Definitely.
know what you're signing up for. You know.
Exactly. You have to know what you're signing up for, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the time. There's been times where I've pushed the release date and it happened, and then there's other times I've had to fall back and let Benny do what he has to do, and so forth, man. It's a very selfless position, man, and but it's also rewarding, especially when you know, like I said, I think managers are the type of people that truly get a thrill of helping others. Like
That's right.
that's
Absolutely.
that's why it's fulfilling, man. It's like that's what better thing to see, help one of my best friends accomplish a goal of his, or one of my closest friends see his vision and see himself grow as a DJ, or
Right.
like that stuff is fulfilling to me. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you know, like I said, it's a balance, because at the same time too, you know, you have to look out for yourself as well.
I was just about
You
to
know,
ask you, how do you balance your
we
personal
have to,
life?
yeah. And I mean, like I said, we're surrounded by a great team. Shout out to my team, HLE, man, Serge,
Yeah.
Harvey,
Yeah.
Coach, DJ D Dub, man. Shout out to them, because you know, I went through a stage of transition for like 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know you just mentioned earlier, I just got married. That was a year and a half of planning.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly. On
I
right.
like, I had to fall back, but at the same time, you know, this is a well-oiled machine, man. Like, me
Yeah.
and Benny been doing this for a while, so it's self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Does that mean I just wasn't involved or didn't know what the hell was going on for that year and a half? Oh no, of course not.
Of course,
I
right.
always knew, always taught, but my presence might not have been as felt as much. So, but then I have someone like Miles Coast who will step in, or someone like Serge who will step in. I'll
Yeah.
be like, hey, I need you to take care of this. Or when I lost my mom, like,
That's right.
that
Yeah, I was
was
going to ask you about that.
that was one of the worst. That was one of the worst times I've ever experienced. Like,
Right.
one
Right.
of the worst things I've ever experienced. It was so hard. It was so hard, and I had to take myself away from it. Like, hey, man, look, I need to refresh, because I'm no good to Benny if I'm not on my A game.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
but like I said, that comes with our relationship. He knows when I need to fall back, and he respects that. But we have a team in place too that kind of knows each other. That knows he knows. Hey, like, okay, enriching his life, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they doing this or this part, you know, such and such is going on, or that comes with that honesty. You know, I went back to school and got my degree a couple years ago. That was another year and a
Wow.
half, all
Wow.
in the transition of still doing music and still helping Benny, you know, with the songs and driving
Yeah.
back and forth to Charleston for shows and this and that while I was still in school, holding down a full-time job and this, and
Woo
had a
wee.
woman. You see
Woo.
what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, so it's like all that, you know, but
Yeah.
it comes with that comes to that relationship. You know, we're not where we were at 2010.
That's
So
right.
I don't have to be on Benny every day about such and such things or
Right.
finding it out. Like I said, he's kind of self-sufficient.
Yeah.
You know, he knows what needs to be handled. He knows how he can handle it, and Serge does, or Miles does. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know, they know, and then if they don't know, they know to call me, or
Right.
vice versa, and so forth. So, you know, it's all managers have a team. They don't do it by themselves. Don't get it twisted at all.
That's right.
You
That's
see what I'm
right.
saying? Do not get it twisted at all. Like, you don't do this by yourself because you don't know it all. And if you think you do, you're in for a rude awakening. You see what I'm saying? So, like,
Exactly. Exactly.
you'll be humbled quickly. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we have a team, man. We have a team that everybody thrives, and we get the most out of everybody's skill and ability, man. And that's a
Yeah.
blessing in itself, man. And you know, this ride is helped me grow so much as an individual. I learned so much more about myself, and like I said, it's self fulfilling. So, you know, you're not gonna get the glory. You're not gonna be on the magazines. You're not gonna be on a mic with VP every round for a video, for an interview, or
Right.
you're
Right.
not gonna be jumping into videos here and there. You know, Benny will let me get on the track here or there too,
There you
to
go.
say some shit. But but you know, you don't. It's not about that. It's not about
That's
you,
right.
man. Like I said, you're gonna be very selfless. It's about the artist, and you gotta care and have that want and belief in them to help them get there, man, and help them see it. So that's very fulfilling. You know, that's very fulfilling for a person like me. I really do get a fulfillment in that. You know, seeing Benny on the Charleston City paper, like he'll tell you, like I hit him up sometime early in the morning, like 5:30, like yo, this Google alert just came in, nigga. You on the blog? He's
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
my nigga, I'm sleeping. Like what's
That's right. Right.
he's
Right.
like, so it's cool. You know, I like, I'll call him like, man, you ain't trying to be great today, bro. Like, nah,
Right.
like,
Right.
we
Right.
motivate, push each other, challenge each other, man. It's not only helping develop to be a better artist, but it's
Yeah.
also helping develop him to be a better man, and vice versa. The same with me, man. So you get so much more out of it than just the fame, the glory, and stuff,
Right.
man.
Right.
You really do.
Now, Rich, this is awesome content. I really think that you are the epitome of just of someone that's working very hard and working hard with your client, your friend, working to do something that y'all see a bigger picture in. And I think it stays true to how genuine the project is and the team is, because if going through
Mhm.
all those things that life throws at you and still wanting to do what you're doing, that shows
Mhm.
that you really enjoy what you're doing. Because if you didn't like it,
Right.
it'd be the first
Right.
thing to go, and it may have been the first
Yeah.
thing you stepped back from, but you didn't let it
Right.
go. You know, like it.
Right.
You know,
Right. Exactly.
and that's
Exactly.
amazing.
Exactly. Right. Right. Exactly, man. Like I said, life has its times, man. Like I said, it's crazy. Life always happens. It always happens, and
Always right.
that's the importance of the relationships you have with artists and people, and you know, like it's crazy. Like I said, like it's very self fulfilling. Like you can kind of see the love and the impact. That's what I thrive off, man.
Yeah.
That's what drives me is that love. And it's not the love of somebody getting out telling me how great I am every so forth and every day, but
Right.
you know, the fact that when my mom passed, and I just met someone like KJ Kearney 2 years ago. We don't talk every day. We don't know each other. But one of the things he first does is reach out to me to say, hey, man, I love you. You know, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. You need
Right.
anything, I'm here.
That's awesome.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or when my mom passed, Benny, you know, stops what he does and comes spends the whole week with me
Wow.
and up until the funeral to the day after. You know what I'm saying? Or you know that
Friendship.
kind of
It
stuff
matters.
is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of stuff is what it's about.
Yeah,
Those
that's right.
relationships is what it's about. Or something, you know, like, you know, I'm just going through it. Like it's funny, like Matt Monday, you always pick at me. You know, he'll call me Birdman or something crazy like that. But you know, just things of that nature,
Yeah.
the impact you see. Like he sees the love Benny has for me and the love I have for him and the support. And you know, he drops a project and he just sees me throw it up, and it's like, you know, like damn, like, you know, hey,
Yeah.
that's what's up, man. That's love right there, Rich. Or the fact that I can reach out to him and be like, yo, bruh, yeah, it's your time. Go eat, or you know, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And be like, yo,
Absolutely.
I see what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That like, that's the great thing about it, man. It kind of gives you that, like, you know, I guess, you know, for a lot of males or females who's playing sports, like, you know, when you're in the locker room, when you build that camaraderie with your teammates and so
Absolutely.
forth, it's kind of similar to that. And you know, that's what I love about it. You know, I come from a big family oriented, and that's what we do. We help one another. We stick together. We're
Right.
there for each other, and that means more than anything. You know, so you know,
And you
that's the kind of stuff that makes you rich, man. Like not the monetary. That's the
right. That's
you know
wealth. That's wealth right there. That's true wealth.
that's wealth, bro. That's
Yeah.
wealth. So yeah, man, it's amazing.
Well, I'm
Definitely
very
amazing.
I'm very just very pleased to hear this, and I'm glad that you took the time. I know we're winding down on our time with you. You've
Oh,
got
we gotta go already, man.
I'm
We just warming up.
I
No, I'm
know,
just
but
playing. Like I said,
seriously,
man, we can go all day, man. I'm telling you.
there's so much
But
to
yeah,
talk about.
it's
I
good.
definitely have to have another interview because
Oh yeah,
there
anytime.
there's just so much, and you're so easy to talk to and to give your experiences, and you're very open book, and I appreciate that, and I know listeners will appreciate that as well. But Rich, you
Hmm.
obviously you're doing a project that it's helping you grow, and when you have
Yeah,
something that helps you grow, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're at your job, if you're growing, it's a good for you. If you're staying in the same
right.
place, if you
Yeah.
guys were the same guys you were in 2010, it'd be time to let this thing go, but you're not.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, and it's not, man. And like I said, you know, if you don't follow Benny, you can kind of you need to, and you see the growth from he went from from rapping to what he's doing now, being a voice for his community and stepping up to the plate. All this
Right.
stuff was always in him, and it just evolved, and that's the one thing that's inevitable, like growth,
Absolutely.
evolution. You can't run from it. You have to embrace it. And like I
Embrace it.
said,
Yeah.
it's this being in this position, it has been humbling, has been very rewarding and so forth, man. And I can go on, and you know, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. Nobody just can. Not anyone can just come off the street and be a manager. It's not. It's
No,
not for
absolutely not.
everybody.
Absolutely
I was
not.
blessed. I was blessed. I was blessed with my upbringing. A lot of the things I observed, just the things I kind of went through, just even in the corporate scale, working at Verizon, seeing how this and that, being a salesman, knowing what people like, knowing how to talk to people, knowing being approachable and so forth. Like
Right.
all those things are key factors into who you are. And like I said, through the years, you learn how to balance it. It's all about balance, man. You know how to balance it with your artist, you know how to balance it with your personal life and so forth. But hey, it's not for everybody, but
Yeah.
it's definitely rewarding for those who have those characteristics, man. So
Yeah. Well, I appreciate. I've learned so much, and I'm glad that you took time out today to do this and to talk about yourself, because I think that was very important. I'm glad to hear about you and what you do. I learned a whole lot more about you than what I knew before, and that
right, hey
that's
man, that's
it's
great.
awesome. Yeah, that's great.
That's
There's so many
awesome,
more
man.
layers to this. That's great. And
Yeah.
are there any last kind of like shout outs or anything you want to plug or anything of that nature?
Oh no, definitely shout out to you guys, man. Do work.
Thank you.
Appreciate you for giving me the platform to even speak. Also, shout out to my team, man. High level everything. Be on the lookout for Benny. Check out his new single that we just released, Flowers.
There you go.
Shout out to the whole SC. Shout out to Charleston, man, my hometown.
There you
Hughley,
go.
I love you. And hey, that's what it's about, man. Much love to everybody, and you know, just stress, man. Just be better than you were yesterday. Do more good than wrong, man, and you'll find a whole lot. You'll get a whole lot of fulfillment in life, man. So
That's
peace
right.
and love to everybody, and thank you so much again, VP, man. This was very fun. I loved it, and
Yeah, me
if
too.
anything you need, man, reach out. Reach out. Don't hesitate.
You know, I definitely will not. I've enjoyed this. I'm glad that I was able to get you in for this interview, and I'm going to enjoy piecing this one together. And
Right,
once
right.
again, I appreciate everyone that listens to this interview. I hope you learned a lot, because God knows I took a ton of notes. And until next time, this has been Time TNL, powered by Do Work Media. I've been your host, VP. And until next time, keep it classy, Chucktown. Support is love.
Support is love. Peace.